Okay, good morning. Pleasure to have you here. My name is Narain Batra. I retired from North University about 2 years ago, and I have been a journalist also, writing for several newspapers. So my background is basically in media, uh, law and ethics, journalism, geopolitics, and of course, my latest interest is in artificial intelligence. I have been pursuing the subject for a very long time. And the topic today is superintelligence, why we need it. Artificial intelligence had its beginning probably at Dartmouth College, as some people claim. But since then it has grown very, very rapidly. It has become part of our lives. So let me start with something interesting. And I said the agony of Barbara Streisand. Now, this happened sometime in November last year. Last year, sometime mid November, Barbara Streisand interviewed with Steve Colbert. I hope I'm clear now, right? You can hear me. Should I speak louder than this?
Better speak loud.
Better.
Okay, better. And what happened was that she was promoting her book, Barbara, a memoir about her life. She's a wonderful lady, lot of accomplishment. And the topic came to, at that time, Gaza Israel war going on and the atrocities which people saw every day. And then she expressed deep sadness over the ongoing violence between the two countries. Two countries, I said. Some people recognize Gaza as a separate country. She said it is about time, it's about what is going on today. She was deeply anguished. She said, meaning people have to live together, though they are different religion or whatever. This is insanity for us not to learn how to live together in peace. I could easily cry about this, she said. Then, with her deeply anguished face, she looked up and said, where is God in this time? Where is he or she? Why can't that energy stop this madness? She said. I wondered, a multi talented celebrity, artist, director, actor, singer, talking about some power above us God, he, she, it, energy, and expressing her helplessness. Frustrating. For quite some time, I kept thinking that instead of waiting for gods to help us, and as you know, humans have been invoking gods for millennia. What if we have superintelligence that could enhance our intellectual capabilities and collaborate with us to solve our problems, difficult problems, globally, efficiently, humanly, and speedily? That was the time when Chat GPT, I'm sure all of you are familiar now, had created shock and awe in the world. People were surprised, this new force. People were talking about the tremendous power, transformative power, great power, changing power of generative artificial intelligence and its inevitable evolution in the course of time to next step, artificial general intelligence, superior intelligence. and fall into superintelligence. Four categories. Let me review briefly and then we'll discuss them. So the question was, could superintelligence, suppose we have superintelligence. Suppose some people say it will come in the course of time. Could superintelligence have foreseen the Hamas 7 October attack, horrendous attack? The Hamas attack did not erupt out of nothing. The killing and the kidnapping, the events that shocked the world, a lot of preparation must have gone into it. Similarly, epidemic like COVID-19 did not emerge out of nothing. That killed thousands of millions of people of the world. Events don't happen just like that. So it seems to me that humanity has reached its maximum level of competence. Or you might say, according to the Peter principle, the humanity has reached its level of incompetence. We can't do more than this. Here is one of my theses. It is our incompetence that poses an existential threat to humanity. We need superintelligence, not another superpower. We have created so many problems all over the world that somehow we don't know how to solve them. We need, instead of praying God, which is okay, some superior intelligence that could help us to see things that we don't see today. So the question is superintelligence possible? At present, there are four categories of intelligence. One is, of course, traditional, simple intelligence, which has been there for a long time, more than 2 decades. For the last 2 decades, we have been using it. It has become part of our lives. We do not feel it because it is integrated, become completely part of it. This traditional AI focuses on predefined special tasks, using rules and algorithms, predefined. It follows instruction. It employs kind of supervised learning. It has to be taught before it helps us. For example, it can learn patterns from the data. It reads quickly, understands things very quickly. But then based upon that, it makes predictions. It distinguishes, differentiates, classifies data into different categories. And within its trained domain, its training, it makes it very, very efficient and does things very quickly, fastly, much faster than we do. For example, it has become part of manufacturing, health, and other activities. For example, robotic machines, AI embedded robotic machines doing a lot of factory, auto factory works. Now it can play chess, it can play games with us much better than we can. Recently, a robot completed what you call Rubik Cube. There was a time Rubik Cube was much in fashion, in just 0.3 seconds. That quickly. But it doesn't make it superior to us. It does things quickly, programmed. Since it can analyze huge data and uncover patterns, and patterns they predict future sometimes. It can generate valuable insights. leading to advancements in fields such as healthcare, climate change, complicated scientific research. We can also do this, but at much slower pace. For example, this traditional AI played a very significant role in the development of COVID-19 vaccines. Normally, it takes about 10 to 15 years in developing a new drug. Long process, trial and error. But this drug, this vaccine was developed in 18 months, less than 18 months. Yeah. It aided the scientists. It didn't develop it, helped them. Then, of course, the MRI and PET scans the doctors use. AI can read it very, very efficiently, point out something might happen in the future. All doctors use it now. They look at it and consult and talk, and then it becomes possible to see what is going to happen to a person who is under scrutiny. Now, this is the traditional AI. It has been used for a long time, more than 2 decades. We don't feel it. All the cars are based upon artificial intelligence to a great extent. But to repeat, it follows the instructions, simple, does it better. The next level, next category is generative AI, which we are using nowadays, which has become something very, very important. Let me see. This is what I said, that we have reached a level of competence. We can't go beyond that. We have created so many problems. 4 categories of artificial intelligence I mentioned. And now the second is, of course, generative AI models. Some of us must be using it. Chat GPT, for example, Gemini, Claude, Copilot, Meta AI, Perplexity. These are the models available now free of charge, and people have been using it. These models generate new content like text, images, audio, video from large databases on which they are trained. The model it creates new samples. They are based upon its training, large language model. For example, it can write an article, write a poem, write a message to your friends very quickly. We can also do it, but saves time. For example, marketing companies, corporations, businesses, they are using it just to generate text quickly. Of course, they have to be improved later on. It can also create music, melodies, harmonies, rhythm, song, soundtracks, sample music from large databases of music, videos, pictures. It depends upon existing material. The most beautiful thing about generative AI is it's a conversational model, prompt-based model. And this is something revolutionary. A prompt can be written or spoken. In this sense, generative AI has the potential to democratize AI. Why? Because reading is not required. I'm going to explain to you. And also, instant translation into many languages. Not only English, many languages. At present, 50 languages can be used. It began in sometime November 2022, and the whole world was shook up. They thought it will create something extraordinary we won't be able to control it. Existential threat to humanity. This perception was based upon some of the Hollywood movies, like 2001, Space Odyssey, the Matrix movie you must have seen, the series, the Terminator and Wall-E. All these Hollywood movies have created the impression that once artificial intelligence becomes kind of super intelligence, it might take control of our lives, threaten us. And based upon this improvement, continuous improvement, the next step is artificial general intelligence. When developed, it could perform anything as good as we do. Same intellectual level as we have, same cognitive level. Functionally superior to us, same as us. But problem is this will have no any biological constraints. It will keep working. We get tired. But artificial general intelligence, once it is there, there's no end to it. The next level, of course, this is hypothetical. At present, in the minds of people who are thinking about it, superintelligence refers to a system that surpasses human intelligence in virtually every domain, including scientific reasoning, creativity, general knowledge, social skill. Better than any of us, even Albert Einstein, Robert Oppenheimer, Steve Hawking, the best of us. It will possess superior problem solving, decision making capabilities, superior to all of us. It will see things that we don't see. That is the problem. We have problems beyond that we can't see. We know climate, catastrophe could occur, but we don't know how to solve it. Because beyond what we see, we can, maybe something there. Most importantly, the superintelligence would be self-improving system. It would, as they say, recursively, the word being continuously, learn, indefinitely, repeatedly, indefinitely, learning, enhance its own capability. We also keep learning, right? But after some time, we stop learning. Our biological limitations, but it will have no limitations. For example, Einstein could go so far. Great, but so far. But there is much more than that. We should look at these 4 categories, not separate categories, but as a escalating continuum. Escalating continuum. So this is my thesis, one of my points I want to make to you. Generative AI would lower barriers to knowledge. How would it lower barriers to knowledge? At present, in order to gain knowledge, one has to be educated to some level. But if we have a system, generative AI, based on oral prompt, spoken prompt, in multiple languages, then, of course, simultaneously, the person, whether he speaks English or any other language, be able to understand difficult language. The point is that Generative AI talks to you, answers you at your level. Because you can ask the same question in different way, it responds to you. Its responses are based upon massive, large language databases. So we are entering a new age, the new age of oral culture again. The point I'm making is without literacy, without person being literate, he or she should be able to understand complex situations, complex questions. Now, this is a, I hope I'm not right. Now, um, there's a new model called Chat GPT Omni. It's the latest development. This model reads, hears, and sees on its own. It's a what is called multimodal model. It does all the things. So it reads, it responds to you in text, audio, images, video in real time. You can prompt in the form of a text message. You can speak. You can show a picture, a video. It will respond to you. And in any combination of these methods. And at present, it responds in 50 languages simultaneously. You speak in Swahili, a language spoken in East Africa. It responds to you immediately. It is in development. Now, this is the example I gave. And just imagine a woman in Kenya, East Africa, uneducated woman. She has this access to Omni, Chat GPT for Omni. And she is an oral prompt, speaks. She doesn't have English or own language also. And he prompts in Chat GPT, Omni in Swahili, about some undefined problem, some pain, or any other issue, and instantly receives information in Swahili. Swahili translated into English immediately and answers back immediately. And then, once she has information, she can ask again. She will not feel intimidated by this machine learning. Sometimes when we talk to people, we become rather frightened. We begin to feel shy. But you can ask any number of questions. Age has no problem. Writing has no problem. Language has no problem. Even a person speaks in, incorrect, ungrammatical language, it understands very well. So now imagine this, I'm talking about one woman. There are millions of people all over the world who are uneducated. This new model, Omni model, it has just started only last month. It gives a new meaning to the old biblical utterance. Seek and you will not find. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. This beautiful statement from the Bible has nothing to do with education. Because once you have a desire to ask a question and you ask, it will answer you. Just as traditional AI has become integrated into our system, this step, generative AI will also become part of our life. We will not know it. Today we are conscious of it. In the course of time, it will become so natural. It will not be some machine talking with you. It will be your cell phone, talking with you privately, without embarrassment. Sometimes we feel embarrassed when we ask questions. Nothing do we feel embarrassed about. But this generative AI, for example, if it's trained to collect data, see observation on its own part, independently, as we do. If generative AI is trained to make observation on its own, then it will grow automatically. For example, apps, we use all apps all the time. We use, everybody use. You order a ride share, you order a pizza, you pay through PayPal, all the transactions, they are through apps. But we just order and that's all. You order a pizza, you get it. But if generative AI also begins to use real life observations, it will grow on its own. And that is the basis of continuous growth of AI. And it will keep learning and improving. And then, of course, for example, when you ask Chat GPT a question, a prompt, it not only answers you, it also learns from you. It doesn't stop there because the databases keep growing. The more we prompt, the more it learns from us. So next time you ask, it will give you a different answer, better answer. Of course, if this happens, generative AI keeps growing, then the next step will be artificial general intelligence, a level which will be the same as ours, human being, same level, on its own. This upward spiral, artificial intelligence to general intelligence to AGI, general intelligence, it will keep growing and growing. And then, of course, we'll have the stage when superintelligence will be possible. So, before I go further, this will not emerge suddenly. We will not feel that some of our functions are being done by superintelligence. It will become integrated slowly and gradually. Of course, it's not that easy. Superintelligence would demand powerful hardware, including high performance processors like GPU, specialized accelerators. Quantum computing, when combined with the AI, would speed it up. It would enhance the growth and further development of AI very quickly. The challenge would be this, and some other question you have in mind. The challenge would be how to keep it under our control. So we use it as our collaborators, as our smarter second selves. Now think of a British butler, right? That is my idea of a super intelligent butler who serves us, who does things which we want it to do without trying to dominate us. So what would it do? What could ASI, artificial superintelligence, do? Accelerate space exploration. Imagine superintelligent space rockets and satellites. At present, we control them because suppose it has its own intelligence. It will start exploring on its own. Could design new drugs with unmatched target specificity without side effects. It could be used to create highly optimized economic models, predicting market fluctuation. Crises like 2008 financial crisis could have been anticipated if there were superintelligence. Complex climate model system that guide the development of clean energy technology. Climate disaster. Is there a solution to this? Should be. We can give up or go for artificial intelligence and see how it helps us. Complex geopolitical scenarios and propose solutions before the catastrophe strikes. Just think about, again, Gaza Israel war. Do you think Israel could have adopted some other way of solving the problem? Was this the only way? We don't know because we can't see beyond what we see. That is my thesis, that super AI will help us to see something we don't see, solutions which we don't see now. If the goal was to eliminate Hamas, there must be some other way. We all feel implicated what is happening in Gaza nowadays. None of us feel comfortable what is happening. Even if you sympathize with the hostages taken, but daily pictures, videos, suffering children, women, it's impossible not to think about it. However, how long it will take, we don't know. But within our lifespan, within the next 10, 15 years, it would be possible to have artificial superintelligence, the same level as we have, the best of us, the best of us. It does raise some philosophical questions. What does it mean to be intelligent? Intelligence is it begins to question us. It's a multifaceted concept, ability to learn, reason, solve problems, adapt to new situations. Do complex calculation, information processing is important, but that's not only intelligence. We need much more than that. Are there other crucial elements like creativity, emotional intelligence, social understanding that make us a whole personality? I'm not trying to answer this question. This question arises again and again. What is intelligence? As we begin to see the limitations of super AI, then we'll feel how different we are from the super intelligence we created. And then the question of consciousness, human consciousness. We experience the world subjectively with emotion, feeling, and sense of self. Would the super AI possess this quality? Some argue that consciousness is an emergent quality. It emerges from complex systems. Others believe, and I'm one of them, that super consciousness is unique to human beings, unique to biological systems. Only living beings have some kind of consciousness. And consciousness is not zero or one, it's a continuum. Some people are more conscious than we are, others are. The answer to this question has profound implications. The movies I mentioned, the Hollywood movies, they're all based upon this assumption that super AI would become conscious and take over. So the question of whether its own desires, and then of course the existential threat arises. And then question of one of the most beautiful, powerful quality we have, human beings, is imagination. Imagine, what is imagination? We imagine, we dream, we daydream. We create mythologies to understand the world. I'm not sure whether machines will be capable of this thing. Human imagination is a powerful cognitive capacity, drives creativity, problem solving, understanding, social understanding, and intuition, imagination. These are fundamental aspects of being human. Could superintelligence imagine, dream, fantasize, daydream? What roles these qualities, attributes play in our lives? We don't know, I said. But the question is being raised. So it's not only a technological pursuit, but also a kind of philosophical journey. We are going to be challenged. That's the point. While grappling with these questions, we have to think about legal, ethical problems. We need to understand and feel ensured that as technology becomes more powerful, it aligns with our values, ethical principles, because we create through algorithms. And therefore, values can be also integrated into algorithms. So I started my lecture with Barbara Streisand, wonderful woman. By the way, she is some kind of a futurist also. She cloned her dog, Samantha. Now she has two cloned dogs.
No husband, just two dogs.
Two dogs. She has a husband also. She is married.
What happened to the husband?
The point is that she had the courage to clone her dog, old dog, who died. And she has two lovely dogs. Then she asked the question, do these dogs, two clone dogs, have the same soul as her previous dog? That's what I'm saying. Technology makes us ask questions. That's very important. That is why I was attracted by her interview. By the way, she's a Jewish person, mother. She's a woman. And she has a heart. She feels very strongly about it, what is happening in the world. So, Barbara Streisand, who wondered why God was not listening, why he, she, it. She was it also. indifferent to human suffering. She, we attribute sex. And it means we don't know. And a lot of people are, they're agnostics, they're atheists. So let me conclude my talk with a hypothetical with one of the greatest minds of the 20th century, Albert Einstein. Imagine, this is all hypothetical speculation, but very important because, first of all, superintelligence will come one day. Within the next 10 years, we will have artificial general intelligence, as good as we are. Right? It's a question of managing it. So we have to talk about it ethically, morally, the marketplace, and rules and regulation. Two forces will determine the shape of superintelligence. One, the marketplace. We're an open society. All these big companies in Silicon Valley, they're competing for some kind of dominance. Since it's open market, it has to be regulated. So rules and regulation will determine to a great extent what shape it takes. Last year, President Biden issued a kind of executive order asking agencies to see that the new development do not endanger human life or violate our democratic principle. And same thing happened in Europe also. European Union too has enacted what you call AI Act, very similar to what we have. And of course, China, other countries will also do. People all over are aware that it could be dangerous if uncontrolled. So let's talk about Einstein. If AI had been his collaborator, super AI, their partnership would have been kind of mind-bending fusion of human creativity and AI superpower. So sometimes the system doesn't work here. No. Einstein's brilliance lay in his ability to conceptualize abstract ideas and think beyond conventional boundaries. His intuition, creativity were unparalleled, no doubt. If superintelligence had been his collaborator, they would have brought together something extraordinary. As you know, while conceptualizing abstract ideas, he created theories, E is equal to mc square and all. And all his theories eventually had to be demonstrated, tested mathematically or experimentally. Even today, some of the theories are being tested. Robert Oppenheimer's misadventure with atom bomb was based upon Einstein theory. So even today, they're being tested. But if he had superintelligence collaborator, they would have worked together, created new scenarios, and tested experimentally, quickly. Now, Einstein was, of course, fascinated with the cosmos, as we are, as all human beings are. We are looking to the skies. And the fabric of space-time, to the first person who thought there's no difference between space and time, it's a continuum. Space and time is a continuum. That was a major contribution. And this will align with the super AI's ability to simulate alternative reality, simulate. Black holes, they would have tested the black hole, unraveled the mystery of dark matter. On one hand, we have people, many of us believe in God, gods, whatever you like. On the other hand, it's an unexplored area. Now, as probably you know, Einstein spent years seeking a kind of unified theory that would reconcile his general relativity. He's known for general relativity theory with um, quantum mechanics. There are two basic theories: quantum physics and general relativity. Super AI would have helped him to reconcile the two. At present, there are two different universes we don't know how to reconcile. So together they would have uncovered the elusive theory of everything. Now just think, it's a speculation. Late night, many of us, do things at night, late night, scribbling. Einstein had the habit of scribbling equations, and Super I would have suggested new variables, both working together. The laws of universe. This is what we know today. These are the laws we know. Is this the end of it? We don't know. The question I'm asking shows us the limitation of our intellectual power. We don't see beyond because we have limitation. It's just like a two-dimensional animal, creature, looking at something three-dimensional. It doesn't see the third dimension, a fourth dimension. But we are fortunate to see, we have imagination. We imagine, we dream. And that leaves us with kind of a dissatisfaction that this is not what the whole world is. So Super AI would have been a constant companion of Einstein, helping together. Sometimes scientists work together, but he worked alone. Now, Einstein is known for physics and mathematics. Now, just imagine we have another Einstein whose major interest is in human health, ailments, sickness, diseases. This new, different Einstein, suppose he in the future pays attention only to human health. Can you imagine what kind of lifestyle we would have? So an Einstein in physics, an Einstein in medical field, Einstein in geopolitics, with the help of Super AI. This is the kind of future we have to think in. Now, some of the final thoughts about evolution. Human evolution from ape-like creatures to Homo sapiens has been based on challenge and response, incrementalism, and gradualism. Slowly and gradually, over millennia, many, many millions of years, we have developed into human beings. Is this the end of human evolution? If superintelligence poses a threat or demands collaboration at a higher level, it could trigger evolutionary response from us. The human brain has shown remarkable plasticity and growth throughout history. Evolution has many, many reasons. Challenge and response is one. facing the demands of complex tools, language, and social structures has led to the increased brain size and tremendous cognitive abilities. Similarly, this is the hypothesis. The pressure to keep up with or surpass super AI would potentially drive further neurological adaptation, changes, improvements. If we stop facing challenges, we will deteriorate. But human beings have never given up challenges throughout history. And that's how we have been growing. In spite of all the things we hear about racism and all that, migration, conflict with the circumstances beyond our control has improved us. All that said, it's important to keep in mind the impact of superintelligence on human evolution would depend on how these advanced AI systems are developed and integrated into society, which means human agency is very, very important. It's indispensable. Although I said that super AI will develop continuously, but it should be under our control because we control algorithms. Ultimately, all the system, AI, nothing but computer and software. There's nothing like something extraordinary. Algorithms cannot control without some programmers doing things. So, but it needs to be developed in a responsible manner. If developed in a responsible manner, ethical manner, with appropriate safeguards, keeping in mind human values all over the world, it could potentially enhance human capabilities, well-being without posing a threat to our species. It could be another incremental step in human evolution. So that is what I believe, that is something coming slowly and gradually. It will become part of our lives. It is our responsibility to see that it grows according to our values. The human agency is very important in the shaping of super AI as it develops. Again, ours is an open society. We are a capitalist society. We are a market-driven society, right? Which works under rules and regulations. So these two forces: rules and regulation by the people, by the government, by the media, watchfulness, and then, of course, the market force. They will combine together to shape up the development of super AI. Thank you very much. I'll be very happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much.
Is there any evidence or any stories, anything that can show that AI would help us get along with each other? In other words, we're filled with conflicts all over the world.
Yes,
People are getting murdered every day
yes,
because we can't get along with each other.
yes.
Is there any way that this superintelligence can help us deal with values that can mold us to appreciate others, see that there are other points of view, and vice versa? Is there any even small story where AI has brought people together that would, a Jew and a Christian or somebody, who really disagree, but they can get along?
The question which Barbara Streisand raised, why can't we get together? Why can't we get together? Get along with together. This is a very important question. I wish I had the answer, but we have not tried, you know.
I wonder if anybody's trying to use AI in some way
Hmm.
that could point out some path of agreement where people can, okay, I can see that one. How about this one? You know, and bargain.
And then we disagree about that.
Well, there's always going to be disagreement, no question about it. On the other hand, isn't it possible that we can get along with each other?
Yes, that's
And realize that we have differences?
Disagreements, one thing, and then taking disagreement to violence, that's the point I'm making. Why we fight, for example, ours is a polarized society, American society, right? Polarized between red and blue. And there's nothing like red and blue. We all mix together.
Yeah.
Yes,
If we're prompting,
yeah.
wouldn't that mean that somebody wants control?
If you prompt a question,
Well, I mean, we're humans and this machine is listening to us
Yeah.
apparently, and it's
Yeah.
responding to us.
Yeah.
And I have never known anybody that didn't want control. And so how,
your question implies intent on the part of machine.
yes, it does.
Machine,
Because we're prompting it, no?
Because
Yeah,
what
but-
you're saying is what you said. I want to just pick up the same thing. You said the more AI is prompted, the more it learns.
yeah,
Yes, thank you.
So, then it comes down to who does the
Oh,
prompting.
absolutely.
And,
I've been prompted all my life.
and the Chinese may be prompting things very differently from the way we're prompting.
the machine learn, but machine doesn't have any independent intent to hurt us. Right? If the algorithm is made such a way that you prompt and it takes advantage of you and me, that's a different thing. That's why controls are very important. Algorithms are made by human agents. Machine doesn't have independent intent.
Nor does it have intent to do good.
Yeah, it's neutral.
It's neutral, but it's going to be directed based on the prompts.
Yes, the prompt at present, you can ask a GPT, any system, how to make a bomb, right? And you try next time. I tried. It says I'm not, it gives an answer that it cannot be done.
You mentioned Einstein. I just want you to know that I've just learned what he said one time, which was, if you don't need to memorize if you can look something up. And it's been terribly helpful.
It has, yeah,
He said a lot of things.
Yeah. yes. I'm going to come back to you again because very important, yes.
One of the issues that you raised was the control and how do we control
Yeah.
this genie?
Yeah.
If we go back to, for example, the atom bomb, the way different cultures have controlled that is countervailing power, because they each realize what would happen if it would be used. And so it protects
Yeah.
society.
Yeah.
The other thing that I think you raised two interesting issues in evolution. Right now, the last generation, economics was the big subject that was taught in the universities.
Yeah.
Now we're in the STEM.
Yeah.
It seems to me that if you say 10 or 15 years, STEM will have moved us that far forward. The next big study would be philosophy, how to use this. And the one after that would be religion and morality, values.
Yeah.
If we have continuous
Yeah.
expansion of our humanity.
Ethics and morality are a constant. We may differ about values, but no society can live without some ethics We may disagree with theirs. So ethics and morality, they guide us. Even Nazis had some kind of morality, evil morality, but it was there. And you're talking about the next system. So philosophy asks fundamental question: who are we? And why are we here? And nobody to answer the question. We invented religion. And once you have the book, and you say, this is it, then you stop thinking life. We can live very happily, right? Suppose the Quran, the Muslim Quran. If you follow obediently, one might say it's the end of thinking. Others might say, look, I'm very happy. Right? But when you come to stems and other questions which you have been raising, or the question I'm raising, there's no end to thinking. Superintelligence, the idea of superintelligence says that there is no end to thinking. That human evolution is, and this is one of the things I want to emphasize, this is not the end. This is not the end of human evolution.
Oh, thank goodness.
Right? But what we don't know what shape it will take. Yes,
Oh, go ahead.
yes.
You suggested one control that I thought was very interesting, that you said the more AI, the more energy it will use, the way Bitcoin now
Yeah.
uses a tremendous amount of energy.
Yeah.
Could you discuss how that constraint and how it
Yeah.
conflicts with climate, for
Yeah.
example?
Yes, yes. See, for example, it takes about $100 million to train one large language model, large language model, $100 million, which means the energy. So this is the question which they are discussing in Silicon Valley. Where would the energy come from? Because training models require energy, computing power. All this thing is nothing but computer. And computer has software. And of course, chips and everything, manufacturing. So it will create problems that more energy is needed. So we have now the alternative of solar energy. That's why they're exploring other avenues. Mankind's search for energy will never come to an end. We have to give up carbon-based energy because of climate change. And every country is making some efforts. For example, I'm from India, native from India, and there's a huge investment in renewable energy, solar energy, wind energy. It will take some time, and that's the direction where every country is moving, because climate affects everybody. First of all, we cannot do without energy. We cannot reduce the use of energy. Right? As more and more people want to be economically prosperous, better life, they will need more energy. Energy is the basis. So search for energy is important. The question I'm reversing the question. Could super AI, general intelligence, help us to solve energy problems? So could we optimize the use of energy with the help of artificial general intelligence, superintelligence? That is one thing which we have to keep in mind. I'm being very optimistic. Technology creates problems, but you could solve some of the problems with technology, right? But the question you raised, can we get along together? That is why we will never give up religion. The only way we can learn from each other, live together, is some kind of understanding. Religion is one of the ways. Even if we we don't go to church regularly. Even we don't belong to a particular church. Throughout centuries, thousands of years, we have imbibed some values. And that's why we live together. So this is going to be a constant effort to be human being.
I was
Constant
thinking,
effort.
you know, now the world in terms of environmental issues
Yeah.
has meetings once a year, something like that, or maybe twice a year. So there's these big, and wow, that's terrific, you know, and people from China and the United States and Egypt, et cetera, everybody gets together and talks and discusses issues. And they do come up with agreements. They agree on certain projects they're going to work on, et cetera. Is there any way that AI fits into that in a way that makes it accelerate or moves it forward faster? Or
That is
has
the goal.
anybody done anything with that? Is that
That is the goal. If AI could help us create energy in a more efficient way quickly. Well, I do not know, but people who are in this field, they are using this model. Saving the earth is our collective responsibility, which means saving humanity. Once this becomes very clear to all of us, cooperation can be possible. So AI, super AI, is a collective interest of all human beings, Chinese, American, Indian, everybody. So again, that brings us to
But we still have to remember that AI can come up with all these different models. And climate is a great example. But humans still are the ones who have to act on it.
Yes.
And so far, we haven't.
Yeah.
I mean, the
Right.
climate is getting worse and worse and worse. There are individual cases of improvement, but the climate is getting worse and worse.
rapidly?
We're not winning that war.
Yes, but we also have, efforts are being made in, for example, auto. If auto industry become totally electric, depending upon solar energy, then it will reduce, carbon emissions and other factors. Some countries are doing well. I mean, America has been making progress.
No, we haven't.
And because of the climate disaster.
Climate is, by every standard, it's getting worse. That's the fact. We're not winning that war.
It's uneven progress. Some fields,
Some areas, but as a whole,
yeah,
the climate is getting worse.
Yeah.
And temperatures are going up. Global warming is a reality.
that proves your point, because we don't see things because of limitation of brain power. If we have several Einstein, and in fact, this was the question raised by one of the this IA expert. Instead of one Einstein, we need many, many Einsteins with the superintelligence collaborate, who can help us to see why can't we make progress? Why can't we make progress? Why can't we reduce conflicts? If I could tell you, that means I have superintelligence. I don't have. I'm just like you. I'm exploring with you. I'm here to learn from you and talk to you and see and raise questions. But one thing is certain. We have developed something which will keep growing. Idea is the problem is how to keep it in a very, very ethical, acceptable manner. It benefits us. One thing is certain. AI is helping us in the field of health. No doubt about that.
I'd like to ask a question about the brain.
Pardon?
I want to ask a question about the brain.
Okay, yes, please.
My question is that most people have said that we have to keep thinking and reading and learning in order to keep the neurons in our brain to exist and deal with life. And if artificial intelligence is taking away from our activities in our brain, we will not have any more synapses to be able to pass information. We will not be able to ourselves become more intelligent. It seems to me that we will deteriorate mentally.
On the contrary, when you keep using prompts, asking questions, challenging questions, and it will improve your brain and my brain. Challenges will be always there. And we are not going to give up everything to AI. AI will be our collaborator, not substitute us. That's the point. Have I answered your question?
David Harrington has got his hand up. Or is that a yellow hand?
Yes, please.
Oh, thank you. To the gentleman worried about the climate and the power consumption, yes, that's a problem, but I could see a future 20 years down the road where all the supercomputers are moved to space where there's ample cooling and we beam the signals back and forth. So long term, there's solutions for that kind of stuff. Although right now they do consume a lot of electricity.
That's a very interesting point. Space exploration is a part of what we call superintelligence. If our satellites, as I mentioned, and the space station become also what you call based upon superintelligence, our reach will increase. There is no end to search for energy. We'll be always short of energy. So we'll keep exploring and inventing. Human brain is anchored in invention. We keep inventing. Throughout our history, you see, evolution has depended upon this thing, challenge and response, slowly and gradually. Human mind have never given up. So you're right, if we need energy, more energy, even if we give up carbon-based energy, we'll find some other source in it. Few years ago, there was no idea how solar energy will help. Now there's one town in India, in the western part of India, Gujarat, where the entire region is now based upon solar energy. Solar cells everywhere. No population there. It's a desert. It's all the sun, all the time. And this is happening everywhere, going to happen everywhere. So this is the meaning of that. There will be no end to learning. Challenges will be always there. AI will help us, not replace our brain.
What about evil? I mean, I have to ask, all I can think about is our Justice Department, for instance. And what if if AI decided that there was even a better way to do something about our Justice Department than our former president has figured out? But our former president would be using AI.
Justice Department is separate from the President's office, right? Justice Department is separate.
He appoints the attorney
Well-
general, though.
It's been trying to be. I mean, yes, we believed it was, right?
Well,
It's the
it's
Supreme
been a
Court.
matter of practice, but
Supreme-
I think
it's a matter
somebody
of
made the
practice.
point yesterday that
Thank you, Ian.
the president is the chief executive of all departments.
Yeah.
Most executives, chief executives have given the Justice Department independence, but I think what Deborah's referring to is the fact that our past president and perhaps prospective future president might treat it differently within the powers of the executive.
Yes, please.
I think the problem is that we used to depend upon protecting ourselves with the countervailing power of three branches of the government.
Yes.
And we don't have that countervailing power anymore. The thing that I thought was most interesting from your lecture is the use of analogy, because I did not understand AI until you talked about the British butler.
Yes.
And the other thing, so another analogy might be, why do we have these divisiveness now? If you say, take the color of light, which is colorless, and put it through a prism, you have a number of strands of color. And if I understand the world from green, but you understand the world from red, but we do not see colorless, then we can be opposed to each other. And so ideally, AI in 20 years would give us all that base knowledge, which is colorless, so we could work together.
That's a very interesting thought.
Yeah,
That was your,
I like that idea.
By the way, so far,
Uh,
you go to any culture, civilization, any country today and past, people have never agreed with each other. That is why we have some idea of that through democratic processes, we can reach some agreement. So, very interesting question you have raised. I wish I could answer all your questions. I did not come to
Has
answer.
anybody tried using AI in a conflict, disagreement mode? You know, I mean, for instance, one of the common ones is unions.
Yeah,
Every union is always fighting to get more
power.
money, more power for the workers. And that might be an ideal place to see if you could find some way of using artificial intelligence or a super AI.
In distribution of wealth.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's ideal. I mean,
The-
Jim always talks about inequality. And he's my good friend there. And it is possible, you know. Distribution of wealth is a serious challenge. We cannot remove inequality. If we try, then we have to go for the Soviet system. You know what they did? They tried to impose equality and turned into authoritarian regime for 70 years, 75 years, more than that. Right? So we have tried that system, we mean human beings.
Stop. You're making that huge mistake that most Americans do. There's one or the other. It's not inequality or equality. There's an in-between,
Yes.
and it's worked in this country in the past.
Mhm.
But it's you know,
The gap is,
Americans can't deal with nuance, but that's, it's foolish to think we have to have inequality or we have to have equality. It's not a choice of one or the other. It's a choice of how to.
tolerable inequality? Is the level of tolerable inequality?
Well, we can debate what the tolerable level is, but, back in the 50s and 60s, we had a much greater level of equality. But it's a great mistake to think there's only one or the other.
No, what I'm saying is that the Russians made a great experiment with their lives. For the first time in human history, a nation tried to work out a system where everybody will be equal. And what happened was dictatorship they said the workers, but then, system broke down. There was no feedback. And we have open system and we have billionaires, many, many billionaires. Now, salaries of people like Elon Musk in billions of dollars, $50 billion compensation, So we have a problem, no doubt about that. Whether AI will help or not, one thing is certain, we might reach a point where minimum universal income becomes a necessity. minimum for everybody in one country, I'm talking about. Yes.
I'm still of the opinion that unless we can solve the global warming problem, none of these issues are gonna matter. Because there are not gonna be many of us left.
Global climate is a serious problem. Look at what is happening now.
Mhm.
We don't know where the next hurricane will strike. Every time you see destruction. So I agree with you. Climate is is a global problem, not one. Israel, Gaza is limited, terrible for all of us. But climate strikes India, China, everywhere, floods, everything. So that is why, to conclude, we need superior intelligence that tells us how to do, what to do. Otherwise, we'll go on discussing these things.
I have a question if I may.
Yes, please.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. How does the world come together to establish the regulations and expectations for AI and also enforce that? I could ask that in a more complicated way, but I'll keep it simple.
Yeah. Well,
For instance, would the United Nations be responsible for this, as an example?
ultimately, it has to be done through the United Nations. But before that, agreement between major powers, EU, USA, and China has to be there. And since it is in the interest of everyone, it should be possible to have some kind of agreement. For example, not to use AI for lethal weapons, right? Just as we have some kind of international agreement about atomic energy, atom bomb, something like that could be reached. Yeah. United Nations will be the ultimate agency through which all countries, more than 200 countries, will operate. Yes. As AI becomes more and more prevalent, it is going to become prevalent. No doubt about it. It is because it's very, very useful. You see, AI is even today is very useful. It will be more useful. As company, as you know, all corporations in India, I mean here, India, everywhere, they're using it. And it will increase productivity over time, not today, not one day, one incremental. But to answer your question, yes, there has to be cooperation between various countries. And no country, even China, cannot go on its own way without hurting itself and other countries. And you can see just now, to give you an example, we have been trying to decouple from China. Have we done it? Impossible. China is part of the world. They trade with the whole world. Similarly, they cannot isolate themselves. Yes, please. David, yes, please. Mr. Harrington.
Yes, hi. I guess develop software, so I see AI as many AIs. There will be not one integrated AI as an umbrella, but many point solutions, healthcare,
Yes.
transportation. So
Yeah.
it so far in the future that there would be an AI that would try to enforce all the rules and try to wipe out like cultural differences. I'm not sure if I'd see that happening without the Terminator trying to go around killing those that disagree. So to me, it's a point solution, at least in the foreseeable solution for various problems.
Your point, there will be various AIs, I understand. That is going to happen. There will be never kind of collective superintelligence that will dictate to us, do this and do that. That's why I mentioned that instead of having one Einstein, imagine hypothetically several Einstein in different fields. people with superior brain, collaboratively working with the superintelligence. That's the future I think is going to happen.
Isn't this where antitrust has got to come in?
Huh?
Isn't this where antitrust has
Yes.
got to come in?
Yes, yes,
To make sure this doesn't get too concentrated
yes,
in one or two
Yeah.
firms that are putting the
Yeah.
billions into developing it.
that is why I believe free media, independent media is very, very important in watching over everything. The government watches, the media watches, and the competition of the marketplace. These three things work together. I'm hopeful about that.
But we don't have open media,
We have free media in the US,
but a lot of it's corrupt.
but not in Europe.
I'm not talking about you.
Yeah, no, but it's global, you know. For example, if something happens in India and they censor it, it appears in American newspapers and then goes back. Yes, please.
I think that we would be less afraid of the trajectory of AI if we go back and look at the history of the evolution of other technologies through the ages, because we had the fear, then we had the proliferation of lots of different companies trying it, then we had the consolidation of finding the best way, and then we had the acceptance of a commonality of this is what we do.
Yeah.
But we don't, in our educational systems today, we do not go back and look at how history gives us answers.
Yes. There's one thing we have to keep in mind. Earlier technologies reached an end point, right? But this technology, there's no end point. AI will keep developing so long we want it. So long we keep investing through energy and, of course, talent. Another point I forgot to mention, I should have done, that in order to develop superintelligence, you need global talent. America doesn't have enough. That's why they are keeping selective. Some people want selective immigration. You know. So does China, Japan, Europe. There's a big competition for this kind of people. And this again will bring people together. When people come together, then of course they try to resolve their differences. Yes.
Is there any example in some field where there is definite pros and cons that AI has been able to identify ways of mutual appreciation of some kind? I was just thinking about music.
Yeah.
You know, you have jazz music on one hand and classical music on the other hand. And they both have beauty and have this appeal to large numbers of people. Is there any way to figure out why? I guess I keep thinking about using AI as a way of bringing people together. Maybe a person like me is never going to appreciate jazz.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I can learn to think about it. I can learn to appreciate other people's loving of it, et cetera, et cetera. Is AI useful in that? Has anybody tried AI? Why is it that I don't like jazz, and why can't I?
There are also people who like both jazz and classical music.
Sure, yeah. But then they might prefer one or the other.
Yeah. AI could, when develops now, generative AI. Traditional AI is simply rule-based. Generative AI has the potential to create. It could create alternative scenarios and help people to understand, look, the differences are very minor.
Yeah. Is that happening?
That I do not know, it could happen. I've just looking at our Congress House, extremists have been isolated now. Somehow, it's some wonderment that people have come together in certain area, not everywhere. And we have developed a better understanding of people like Donald Trump.
I don't think you're ever going to love jazz.
through
I
exposure.
don't think you're ever gonna love jazz.
No, not love it, but to understand it, you know what I mean? I mean,
You can't understand it. That's why it's wonderful.
That's the point. If you
Thank you.
understood it, you might like it, but it's like modern art when you look at something and it doesn't look aesthetic to you and someone explains it, you have a better understanding and there may be aspects of it that you like, although you don't like everything, just like food, you you make choices.
Kale.
Yes.
The more I learn about it, the more I dislike it. I'm gonna, you keep coming back as I do, about why we just can't get along better.
Uh-huh.
And I disagree. I don't think artificial intelligence has anything to do with solving it.
no.
I think it has to be a human interaction. If I were king for a day, a ruler for a day, I would mandate that every citizen have a year or two of public service. Because I think that is the only way, not necessarily that mechanism, where people spend time with other people and talk to other people and work with other people and live with other people.
Yeah. Well, what I was wondering is whether anybody is, say there's a disagreement, say a law disagreement or a business disagreement, getting the sides together, that's a common thing that happens these days. And somebody who's a negotiator gets people to find things and they might come to agree with each other. Can AI do that better?
And I'm just saying, I don't think it can.
AI
But
can.
That's just my opinion. I'm not, but
Yeah.
I'll tell you if you want to read a great book about this, Frank Bruni has a new book called The Age of Grievance.
Oh, yeah.
And he speaks directly to this point. Not that he has an answer, but from his own life,
Yeah.
he says, that he has learned because of his just interaction, informal interaction with other people.
Some people think that AI has capacity to persuade people in the future. It might. And we don't know, nobody has tried it. Persuasion is the art of people being together. And in authoritarian society like China, I mean, there's no duty to persuade people. Order comes and you obey. Saudi Arabia, etc. So conflict, which you see in open society, right? In Europe, America, India, a lot of conflicts are there. So anyway, any other questions?
Right there.
Yes, please.
Do you think people who traffic now in mis and disinformation will come to love AI and trust it?
This information has been always there. It's more now because of rapid spreading of information, disinformation. So AI could be used. First of all, let me draw your attention to what happened in India. Its election was there.
Yes.
Yes.
And Modi lost his power to a great extent. He's still going to be the prime minister. But disinformation played no role there. People say, oh, democracy, election will be damaged by misinformation. There was a lot of misinformation in India also, this time. Nothing happened. People decided. In spite of all the things he did, propaganda, tremendous propaganda. People had their own views. So I trust, that there's a self-correcting process. After all, people say Russia has been trying to influence us, our election. Has Russia succeeded? There's no proof. Disinformation is there. But disinformation can be corrected by correct information also. Okay? You don't believe in one source, you listen to many sources. And then
But most people don't.
yes,
Most people don't listen to many sources. We live in information silos.
that's true. But what determines our attitude is our own self-interest. We all have self-interest, right? And that determines our we select news, information, what suits us. But when we are together, you and I might think we are living in silos, but we come together, and we do come together. Then we modify our views. Nobody lives completely in silos.
But we're living more and more in silos. To me, that's the problem.
Yeah.
I don't interact with people who have really different views.
Well, it's hard to do nowadays.
Exactly.
I used to enjoy
The
it.
neighborhood I live in, my work, my play, my media. And,
To some extent, we all live in kind of segregated, but we come out and mix with others.
I think,
Happens.
I think AI is perhaps the tool to bring the world more together and overcome man's artificial boundaries and match the overview effect the astronauts had when they went up in outer space and looked down on the Earth and said, why do we have boundaries? We're all people of the same place. And I think AI could maybe reach that ideal goal. Not easy to do, of course, but man's artificial boundaries create a lot of conflicts too. Anyway,
That's a possibility. That's a possibility. Yes.
send us all to space.
If we have to explore space and colonize space, we have to come together. If we have to fight climate problems, we have to come together. It's in the interest of everybody. If it's only in our interest, American interest, then it may not happen. That's the hope. The only thing is space, what pace we need. So the whole idea was that AI will speed up things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. It might. We have to see. It's not going to happen tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Slowly and gradually. Our lives are changing. Our lives are changing.
But if we don't save the environment first,
Yeah. That is true.
not gonna matter.
But one of the incredible things, the other day, I was just looking through my internet communications, and I all of a sudden discovered something I had written in 1990 something. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
It came up like that.
Yeah.
You know, and it had something to do with the person that I had known, et cetera, et cetera. And it was just, holy smokes.
The past becomes the present.
Yeah.
The past comes into our.
And so quickly, you know,
Yeah,
it's just like a,
And this is what generative AI does, because it large databases. It brings up things from past and updates it. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I enjoyed it.